Good day and welcome to another segment of In the Spotlight. I'm Superintendent Michael Richard, and today I'm joined by three members of the West Springfield High School robotics teams, Marley Gonsalves, Doug Bednarczyk, and Ben Thatcher. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
So we'll start off with a real easy question before I start drilling you, okay? That is, tell the audience at home a little bit about yourselves, what you do, what you're interested here at school, and what kinds of things you like to do outside of school. And Ben, why don't we start with you?
Well, I'm Ben Thatcher, and I basically just like all things robotics and engineering.
All right.
So like electrical and computer engineering.
And Ben, you're a junior now,
Yes,
right?
I'm a
Okay,
junior.
very good,
Yep.
very good. Doug.
I'm Doug Bednarczyk. Most of my friends just call me Doug. Senior here at the West Springfield High School. I like to pretty much tinker with just about anything, whether it be my car or the refrigerator. It doesn't matter. I just like to work on stuff.
All right, my freezer is broken in my
Yeah.
refrigerator, so I'm going to call on you later.
Absolutely,
Okay.
go for it.
All right, sounds good. Marley.
I'm Marley Gonsalves. I like art, reading, and robotics, basically.
All right, good. So tell me a little bit about team number 1027 and Project Jabberwocky. What's the symbolism behind the name? The number, I'm assuming, may be assigned to you, but who wants to tell me a little bit about that?
Basically, Project Jabberwocky was actually, we get to choose the names.
Okay.
Every robotics team does. So basically, ours is from a TV show called Better Off Ted, and in this specific episode, one of the characters makes up a project called Project Jabberwocky, and it's secret, and therefore everyone wants to know about it. So it's kind of like a little joke in there.
All right, so we're here to share that secret a little bit then, if you would, about robotics and what you guys do and the kind of work that you do as a team. So talk about this year's robot. What were you charged with doing? Doug, maybe I'll have you start. What were you charged with doing? What kind of robot did you have to build? What's the nature of the competition this year, and how did you approach it?
This year's competition, what happens is first the organization that our team is a part of is they give us an assigned, pretty much, they show all the teams all at once this one game. And this year it's based off of 8 or 64-bit video games. So they show us this video, and it shows what our challenges are. And this year's challenges are we have to move certain boxes up to different things. In this case, we have a very large scale that's roughly 6 feet in the air, and then we also have a smaller switch, which is a little further down. Now, we need to move these boxes into our color-coordinated scale. The longer that we have more boxes on our side, more than the opposing side, more points for us, 1 point per second. Same thing with the switch. And this year, we also have to climb. So there's a very small, narrow bar that we have been tasked to climb with. And we are intending for our robot and then carrying 2 other robots to also climb with our robot. But we're going to have them drive pretty much on top of our robot and then lift us up.
Wow, this sounds pretty complicated.
It is extremely complicated.
I see Marley nodding in agreement here. So the thought process, I'm hearing multiple robots, and that's obviously allowed within the parameters of the competition. Why not one, Marley?
Well, for the alliance, we have alliances, which are three robotics teams, and they work together to play the game. And for this year's competition, you get points if all 3 teams climb. But the challenge this year is we have to all climb on this very small bar. So we thought rather than having us take up a small part of the bar and leaving the rest of it for the other teams, we thought why not just have all 3 teams go on our robot, and we can lift them all up at the same time and get the points.
All right, so you're working with other teams on these robots?
Yeah.
So you build one. They're building smaller robots that are going to work with yours.
Correct.
Great. So that leads really to build season. Tell me about build season. When does it start? How long do you get? What kinds of things do you do, Ben?
Well, I mean, it's every day except Sunday. So every weekday, it's 6 to 9 p.m. So, I mean, that's already a lot with all the homework we get, But on Saturday, it's 9 to 3, basically, 9 to 3. So every day but Sunday, we're working nonstop, pretty much. So there's a lot of stuff we need to do, but we usually get it done in time.
Okay. All right. Marley, when does build season start? When's the great unveiling or reveal of the competition and what the challenge is? When do they share that with you?
Usually the first Saturday of January.
First Saturday of January, and they give you until
We have 6 weeks.
Yeah,
you
we
get
have
6 weeks to do this.
6 weeks from that time period, you have to design, prototype, then test your robot. So you can take all the time you need to CAD your robot, which is 3D modeling. You pretty much design it all up here in this, on the computers, get parts, do stuff like that, and when the time comes, you order all these parts, you manufacture the ones that you need. If you need stuff cut, or if you need to manufacture your own stuff, and then put it all into this robot. Then you have depending how much time left, you can test your robot, and from there it's off to the competitions.
So I was able to stop by the night you guys were finishing up the robot. It was really, that was it, right? It was get it done or not last week, and it was really impressive to see everybody seeming to have a job to do. How do you, as captains of the team, assign tasks to people? Do people volunteer? Do you determine they've got a specialty, Marley, or how does that all play out?
It usually sort of evolves pretty organically. People just decide, I want to work in programming, so they would work with Ben, or they would want to work with CAD, so they might go up to the computers, and usually just people decide what they want to do. And if people don't know what they want to do, we might assign them. Usually it just sort of works out that people choose what they want to do.
Okay. And so how many people are on the team?
Roughly
25?
25-ish.
25 students who, plus adult faculty advisors, Mr. Bernard is one of those, who are really working full time on this for 6 weeks. I mean, that's really impressive to think about, 25 hours a week basically dedicated to putting this robot together. That's really awesome. How did you guys get interested in robotics? At what age did this start? Was it elementary school? Was it when you got here to the high school? Did you have a sibling who may have prompted you to think about it? Doug, what do you think?
For Nick Kressley, he was the man who had ended up telling me about this club. And at first I was like, nah, I'll never find my place in there. That's just a bunch of nerds. But I'd always been one to mess with stuff. And then when I found out about how much they actually build and stuff, I decided to get involved and see what it was about. I showed up for 1 or 2 meetings and found out that I really enjoyed and liked this, and I just kept coming back, and they couldn't get rid of me.
You were hooked.
I was
Good.
hooked.
All right. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I basically had I was pretty interested in all, engineering from a pretty young age, I guess I would say. There was just, I don't know, I just really liked it, and so when I found out there was a robotics club in the high school, I had to join it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Marley, is the story similar or?
I actually learned about robotics from the P2P program,
Oh, good.
so I thought that seemed interesting, so I just came. And
Very
I
cool.
liked it.
Very cool. Well, it's been a pretty successful program, and we want to make sure that we keep it going. So, how do we encourage more students? 25 students is a great number, but we know we can do. There's power in numbers. So, what could you say to your classmates or to the audience at home that would encourage more students to think about the benefit of participating in a robotics program?
It's definitely a team building exercise. Being around so many kids for so long, they pretty much become like a very tight-knit family. You learn, how to do certain things. It definitely teaches skills about maintenance. It teaches skills about how to keep up, how to read the rules and make sure you're within. It's a good program, and to get other kids in, they also have to show the interest of, hey, this is pretty cool. I think I want to do this when I'm older, because the applications for the robotics is everywhere now, from cars to manufacturing. It's going to be the future.
For sure. I think about problem solving as being maybe the biggest skill that you can refine when working in the robotics team, whether it's disagreement about what tack you want to take to building your robot, or whether it's simply problem solving, how are we going to approach this particular challenge that's been assigned to us. Do you agree with that, Marley?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have quite a few problems that we face in the robotics team. One main one that we have is the weight limit. So we have to figure out ways to make it make the robot lighter but still do the same things. So we just have to work together just to try to figure out how we're going to face this problem.
Okay, so talk about the weight limit a little bit. What are the restrictions there?
Well, the robot has to be 120 pounds
Or less?
or less, yes. And right now I think we're at 127. So we have to figure out a way to drop about 6-7 pounds.
I have that same problem. Ben, how about for you, problem solving and as it applies to robotics?
Yeah, I mean, basically from the moment the game gets released, we just start working on it. So we start figuring out ways to we figure out what tasks we want to do, and then we figure out the best way to do them, basically, and everything that entails. So like how the robot's going to drive, what peripherals you would need, like arms and stuff like that, wings for us to lift other robots. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. So competition. Talk to me about what happens there, and if you could think of one, think of maybe a memorable moment that you've had at a competition that really either brings you back to say this is something that I love, or has caused you to reflect on your practice as a robotics team member.
Competition is very fun. It's a lot of people. It's very loud. It's loud music. Lots of lights. Lots of people going around. And I think I can speak for the team when I say that our best time at competition was last year, because we made it to semifinals, and we did very well. Of course, the year before we barely moved, so it was very exciting to actually do well in a competition.
Great. And where are the competitions held? There's some that are local and some that you've got to travel some distance for.
Yeah,
right?
the farthest one we've been to within the past few years is Reading, Mass. But otherwise, we've gone to WPI over in Worcester. This year we're going to Hartford, a high school somewhere in Hartford, and then we're also going to one in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Wow.
So they can range, but it's usually somewhere within the New England area. But going to these competitions, I know coming in, it's like a culture shock, because you've never seen so many people all motivated about the same thing, wanting to win as much as these kids do, because it's all their hard work and all their effort that's gone into this robot to try to win this competition.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So before we wrap up, Doug, before we went on air, you were talking a little bit about the studio that we're in this morning in Channel 15, and we're really excited to have the support of Channel 15 in the town for this program and others. But tell me a little bit about your experience with your work in Channel 15 that you've done prior to this year.
I've done quite a bit with the channel. Chris Stone and Nick Odell have definitely given me quite a few opportunities here. Definitely with staying in here and filming during the Wall That Heals that came last year. That was extremely fun that I did. And then this past year, I went up with Nick Odell and we filmed the football.
The state title
The
game
state
at
title
Gillette
game
Stadium.
at Gillette Stadium, which was extremely fun to do.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone. I enjoy this place, and it's great.
Great. Well, we know that all of you get involved in different things in the school and the community, and that's really outstanding. So here's your chance. It's the last question of the show, and that is, who do you want to see sitting in the hot seat in the spotlight? So take your time, think about it. Whomever you select individually here, there's a great chance they're going to be sitting here answering some difficult and maybe not so difficult questions. But Ben, you're up first.
All right, band. Definitely the band.
Band, the whole band.
The whole band.
The entire band. Oh, they're not going to fit in here. Ben.
might.
They might. We hope that's not true, though, because we want a big band. But,
Yeah,
what if we start with Mr. Holozowski?
That would work. Yeah.
All right.
I
Okay,
think so.
that sounds fair, but I like
Yeah.
it. The band, the Marching Terriers.
I would definitely call out some of the kids from the drama club, such as Trevor Morin, Jared Allen, and probably Kira Bowler.
All right, and they're about to put on the abridged, complete works of Shakespeare abridged, which is happening. Is it next weekend? I think
Believe
it's
so,
next
yeah.
weekend. Well, I can't recall the dates off the top of my head, but we'll get that along the screen here at the bottom. And Marley, how about you?
I'll say the Mathletes team, because I think that's a very
All right.
interesting club that you can join.
All right. Well, I think those are three great options, and we're going to put them in the queue for future consideration for sure. Thank you so much for taking the time. This has been another segment of In the Spotlight. I'm Superintendent Michael Richard. We're so pleased that you join us each week. Have a great afternoon.